A year ago, you were driving Uber. You told me the story, but I was like, bro, tell me with your perspective of like how it felt going through it. Because other people are watching this right now and they're in the situation of they need to invest in themselves, they need to believe in themselves. And they're like, oh, I could go broke in 30 days. Let me stop now. And you're like, no, I'm going to fight for 30 days to figure it out. And then you did figure it out. So yeah, a lot of people are folding under pressure and you didn't fold. You smiled through it. So talk me through that real quick.
Yeah, we smiled through it because I knew I wasn't going to go back to a 9-to-5. Whatever I was going to do is not going to be going back to a 9-to-5. I had that little bit of sense of freedom already, and I knew I couldn't go back to it. It would scare the living shit out of me, honestly. So I had to find another way. My ex-wife at the time was freaking out. Luke, you need to go get a job. You need to go get a job. You need to get a job. And I thought to myself, like, what can I do in order to not go back and get a job? And I used the tools that I had already, the skills. I had Uber. It doesn't take a whole lot of skills, but I had a good car for Uber. I had a Tesla. So I was like, okay, I can go drive Friday and Saturday nights in San Diego, go picking up people that were my same age, dropping them down at the bars at Pacific City while I was driving for Uber just to be able to pay the bills. And that gave me just a little bit of sense of freedom of like, okay, I don't have to go get a 9-to-5. During the day, I can work on the business and try to get new sales, new video editing clients, videography clients in San Diego. And at night, I knew I was going to be able to make $50 an hour Ubering in San Diego. And I just had a sense of, even when I was doing that, I was able to have great conversations with people my age and plant little seeds. Like, you don't need to go to the bars. You don't need to go, you don't need to be, like, they felt bad. Some people, when I was dropping them off at Uber, they felt bad because it's like, oh, I'm going to go work, or I'm going to go drink, get drunk. This guy's working his ass off for it. Yeah. So I had some good conversations from that, and I got a client from that too.
All right, so yeah, you brought up video editing. You were transitioning from Uber. On a high level view really quick, just to summarize it. A year ago, Luke was down bad. Right now, he's doing the podcast from the penthouse with the Rollie on the wrist. What is this, by the way?
This is a Rolex GMT Master 2.
Rolex GMT Master 2. How much did that run you?
This was $22,500.
$22,000 watch, more than he probably was making per year if he was to stick with the Uber thing.
Yep.
So a year ago.
Yeah, and 3 years ago, this is more than I made working a full year at Trader Joe's. 3 years ago.
Wow.
And I got it on the wrist now. But yeah, 1 year ago, I made $349 for the whole month with videography. And now, like 1 year later, to be able to afford it, it's crazy. But that's what happens when you push through the self-beliefs like, oh, I have to go get a job, like retracting.
Yeah.
You got to push past that, and it's like, okay, that's not an option. I'm not going back to do that. What else can I do in order to move my life forward?
Yeah, 100%. The quote is, our fears and doubts are traitors which make us lose the good we might have won by fearing to attempt. So you were not afraid, but most people are like, their entire life is riddled with fear. Every decision they make, if they actually looked at it from like a spiritual perspective, my decisions, faith or fear, it's never both, it's always one or the other. So bro, take me through the high level view just so we can summarize. Yeah. Here you are now, but a year ago you were broke. There's certain moments that were pivotal for you to go from regular job, Trader Joe's, to you didn't want to have a job, so you went with the videography route, but then you had people in your ear saying, no, go get a job again so you can come home at 5 p.m. and be normal with me. And you're like, no, I'm not going to be normal. And we've all felt that calling when we were young to go do a life that was extraordinary. And this is anything but average, what we're doing right now. So we did that. And we almost folded under that pressure, but we chose to let it define us. And there's like a phase in every person's life where they have a chance to go from a boy to a man, from like being battle tested to being just like you folded and settled. Yeah. And most people want the rollie on the wrist at 23. Most people want the rollie on the wrist at 23. They want the penthouse in Miami at 27. They want whatever they want. But they do not want to go through the test phase where they have to be battle tested and prove. God wants you to prove to him, yeah, you really want this? I'll reward you. He's not someone who's like, no, you can keep working hard. I'll never give you the fruits of your labor. No. It's a harvest. Like you keep planting the seed, you water it. Eventually you will get the fruit. So take me through what was the mindset for you where you just decided like, I'm going to figure out, even if it requires me to Uber, that's just to buy me time, but then I'm going to take my sales skills that I learned from solar and cybersecurity, and I'm going to go get my first client by being the best known videographer.
It's because I watched, you reposted a video on your story of you talking when you were walking, I think in Mexico, and you were talking about it's not about being the best, it's about being the best known. And when it was alive, I remember, and I watched it and it stuck with me. It's not about being the best, it's about being the best known. If you're the best known videographer to go to, you will get the business. And so it was because of you saying that I went to go reach out to everybody that I knew, and I wanted to be known as the best known videographer at the time. So I tell all my clients, you want to be known as the best known your business in town. And I tell all of them that, and then when you're the best known, you're gonna get the business. The best known beats the best when the best isn't known. I learned that from you.
Simple. And so you did that, and you reached out to a bunch of people in your town, in your city, your network. Okay. And at the time you were like surviving, staying afloat.
I had $1,800 in my checking account, negative $2,000 in my savings account, and almost $4,000 on a credit card. I was broke. I had a faulty chargeback go through for the savings in my savings account, and then I started reaching out like crazy to everybody that I knew that I could help. And we did that. We got one client, and then that was the start of it. I was barely above water. I could breathe for a quick second, but that's it. Then I knew I had to get back to work. And then over the month, I was able to get another client, then another client, then another client, then first 5K month, then first 10K month, then first 15, 20K month. Like, it started to snowball.
Within a matter of like 3 months, you were up to 10, 20K a month.
Yeah, October was like $349 for the month, and then January was 20K.
January 20K. All right.
You have to get past that, though. Have you noticed that in your own life of having to get past that fear of like, I have no idea how I'm going to figure this out, but you have to keep going? What was that for you?
100%. So I'll quickly tell mine. I went from having my first 100K in the bank at 22 years old from barbering alone, moved to LA with nothing, like a few grand, 0 clients, didn't know really anybody, and didn't have any clients, didn't have any plan other than I'm going to be the best barber, the best known barber. And so I became the best known barber. Within 6 months, I showed up to the shop, and I would sit there and it'd be quiet and it'd be no clients in there, and I'm like really testing my faith. I walk around and say affirmations, and the pandemic happened, and that's when all my seeds that were planted paid off, and my business barbering behind the chair went from 6K a month to 28,000 a month, and from there I was able to stack my first 100K in the bank. I had a very simple life. I cut from home, so it was just cash, and I just stacked it up. Now the problem was I was still a boy at the age of 22. I was like literally still a 12-year-old kid. So I had no self-confidence, no self-development. And what I did next was I fumbled every single dollar of that 100K. And by 23, 24, I had a tax bill. And I remember this email specifically. Hey Joel, it looks like you owe $20,177 to the state of California, and you owe $40,000 to the government. If you need any help setting up payment plans for the IRS, let us know. Here's the link. And I was like, this can't be real. Like, okay, I don't even have that much in my bank account anymore. And I had made so many decisions hoping to get rich quick. And whether that's crypto, like the instant gratification that I was looking for was like, maybe I could turn this 100K into $1 million. But I was avoiding the fact that I wasn't the version of me that would even be a millionaire. Like, to have this penthouse is normal because I feel like I am a penthouse. Like, you know, whereas before I was like, whoa, what if I got a penthouse? And then when I got like the nice crib every day, I was like, something doesn't feel right. I feel out of place. I don't feel like I deserve this, you know? And so we don't actually want material things. We want the feelings that those things will give us.
Ooh, the feelings that we would give us.
So all I needed to do was the personal development to feel worth everything I was going after tangibly, to where when I did get it, it was no problem. It was normal. And that's the best thing that Miami has done, man. But I went from 100K in debt. Well, let's summarize it, right? I went from my first 100K in the bank at 22 to 2 years later, 100K in debt, to a few years later now, 100K a month. And what I learned is 3 things. 1, our personal development is the ceiling to our earning potential. So just because I had the 100K, I wasn't the person who could manage that. I didn't have the habits that matched the 100K, so I fumbled it.
Now the habits match 100K a month, right?
Exactly. Now the habits match the 100K a month, so it's very normal to check, last 4 weeks, 100K came in. Like literally right now on the strike, 100K. So that's the first thing I learned. Let's go here.
Show the camera, yeah, 111.
Can you guys see?
Maybe able to.
In the last 4 weeks?
111K collected.
We got 1 minute, so that's
amazing.
The rest of the things I learned was to get in the right opportunity vehicle. So trading my time for money was never going to get me there, because at the end of the day, we need a freedom vehicle that's not attached to our time, and online coaching was that. So as soon as I figured that out, just like him, we had to apply the sales that we knew to that vehicle with the personal development. You take all those 3 things out of here.
So now, how are you helping barbers hit 20? You're helping barbers. So Joel, you're helping barbers become coaches now. Explain to me that.
Too easy. So when you're building your barber following, there's one thing that always is in the back of your mind is that I need a plan B. And most people will immediately think like, oh, I'm gonna have a 401k, I'm gonna get a barber shop, I'm gonna have like a Roth IRA, maybe I'll invest in stocks or crypto or something, and hopefully that will be my ticket. Bro, it's 2024 when there's people at age 20, 23, 25 living in Miami Brickell penthouses that cost more than most barbers make per year within a year of starting a business. What business model can you start it and scale it to 100K a month? I don't know a single one in the barber industry other than coaching. So let me know if you can think of one, but that's the switch.
Because you help barbers go from that are already crushing it to teaching other barbers how to crush it and hit those 10, 15, 20K months, right?
Exactly. The biggest switch for me was realizing that the business model I want to be in is the one where I'm being the best version of myself, giving that to the world and inspiring other people. I'm never going to jump into a get rich quick crypto, stocks, e-com, sports betting, OnlyFans management. There's all these money grabs that people are looking for, where if they were just a dope version of themselves, they could be a coach. And that's what better occupation than a person who every day your only job is to motivate and inspire and teach other people how to motivate and inspire. So at the end of the day, it's getting in the right vehicle, but you have to be ready for that vehicle because your personal development is the ceiling to the earning potential.
When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Come on, man. If you're ready, you know what to do. Hit the link. Let's go.
Let's go.